Fetch API is the most commonly used tool for fetching resources across the network. To create a request, we need to call the built-in fetch function with the resource URL as the first argument. And it has a second argument, which is optional. And these are all the different options that you can use with the request. To make things clear, we will provide an object with a get method and its property, but this is already a default setting. And as a result, we get a promise that we need to handle and log the response. If you are not familiar with promises, check out my video on this topic using the link in the description. And in the console, we can see the response object with a bunch of properties. But that's actually not what we want to see. If we take a look at the network tab, we can notice that the server returns a list of users. And the reason we can't see the users is that the response body should be parsed using the JSON method. And this method returns a promise that we also need to handle to see the data from the response. Now, let's see what happens when we use the wrong URL in our request. Obviously, we get a 404 error, which stands for not found response status. And the response object has also changed. So let's fix it using the catch method and logging our error. It was a good try, yet we don't see the logged error. That's because catch doesn't handle the network error, but the issues that occur in the code itself. So once we define the problem, to handle a network error, we can use the information from the response object, such as OK property, which indicates whether the response was successful or not, and the status to generate a user-friendly error message. Once we learned how to get data, now we need to figure out how to create it. To do so, let's adjust the method to post, which is designed to send data to server, and a new property body where we describe the data that we want to send. In the console we can see the data that we have in the response, but there are no fields that we described in the body object. The issue is that body was transformed into a string by the fetch, since we can't send the plain JavaScript object. And to fix that, we need to stringify the object by ourselves. Now, we still don't have our properties in the response object, but at least we send the proper payload. So the last thing to make everything work is to provide a content type header in our request, which is used to indicate the media type of the resource we send. There are tons of possible values for content type, but in our case we need application JSON type. Now, along with the ID property, we can see the one that we sent in the request body. Although, in the network tab we can review all the information of our request, such as method, content type and many others.